Good morning and welcome to the May 2014 Employee Recognition Ceremony. I'm Joanne Swenson, Chair of the Employee Recognition Committee. Our committee has been in existence since 1997 and was formed to initiate and coordinate an Employee Achievement Award program to reward city employees for a job well done. Currently, we're comprised of 11 members from various city departments. I would like to thank the committee at this time for their year-long efforts to the committee. They not only put the ceremony on, but we all attend monthly meetings and review Hats Off Service Number 1 and Kudo Awards. So if you could join me in thanking the Employee Recognition Committee members. We have Agnieszka Brooks and Sharon Simmerick, Sue Holmer, Helene Neal, Captain Rob Nugent, Marcy Reedy, Rachel Smith, Kim Tyre, India Williams, and Joy Rose. Thank you, everybody. Attending our ceremony today is our own Mayor, Rick Kreisman, and our City Administrator, Gary Cornwell. In the audience is Fire Chief James Large and Chief David Kay from the Police Department. We have a great ceremony today and a milestone to celebrate as one of our Parks and Recreation employees celebrates 50 years with the city. And we have six other employees that are celebrating 40 years with the city. So to ensure a smooth running ceremony, the committee and I ask that everyone be sure their cell phones are turned off or at least put on silent, and that our presenters limit their comments to 1 to 2 minutes. To our employees receiving awards today, when your name is called, please come up and stand on the X. Actually, it's a line today. Right over here. Sorry, Chief. And make sure you bring your friends and family with you so they can be recognized alongside with you. So let's get started. Mayor Kreisman.
Good morning, everyone. Well, it's really nice to be here with all of you today. This is my first employee recognition ceremony that I've been able to attend as mayor, so I'm really honored to be here. If you may remember, one of the things that I talked about after getting sworn in and when we had our first big gathering where we invited every employee to come, and appreciate all those who were able to, and we understand those who weren't, but the main thing that I really wanted to stress that day and today is kind of an example of that is the fact that we're really a big family, you know, and some of us have been together now for a long time, others for shorter periods, and like every other family, we have some bumps along the road and some disagreements sometime, but the bottom line is we are a family, we care about each other. We look out for one another, and we look out for the best interests of our citizens. And all of you who are here today that are being recognized really exemplify that in really untold ways. So I want to say thank you. I also want to, I know traditionally the mayors have tried to be here for the entire recognition ceremony, and I wish I could be. Unfortunately, I do have a meeting that I've been scheduled for that I have to attend, so I just want to apologize in advance for having to step out at some point in time today. We'll work to make sure that doesn't happen the next time we have another recognition ceremony. And for those of you who are being recognized that I won't be here, please know that you can contact my office to schedule a time if you want to come and have a photo taken inside the office with me. I'm happy to do that. Or if you want to do a selfie, we can do that too, since that seems to be happening more often. And I also want to say a special mention, since I don't know that I'll be around in time to recognize Lloyd Thomas, who will be recognized today for 50 years of service to this city. He's been with the city longer than I've been alive, which is a really weird thought to me. But thank you for your dedication to this community. Every single person that's in this room, whether you're being recognized or you're not being recognized, really, you make the city happen. You make the difference in this community every single day. And it's really important that we recognize that every day, not just on a special occasion like this, but I think it's important to recognize it every day, so thank you. With us today is two members of our City Council, Councilmember Charlie Gertis and our Council Chair, Bill Dudley, Coach Dudley. So I'd like to invite Coach Dudley to come say a few words. And again, thank you for everything that you all do for us every single day. Thank you.
Well, the mayor expressed our feelings so eloquently, but let me just, I have to say it, I don't know whether I've missed one. If I have, it's only been, I don't think I have. I really enjoy coming to these because I understand the sacrifice that it takes for you every day. You got to get up out of bed and you got to come to work, and some days you don't feel the best, but you're here, and this city cannot function without you. And I'm amazed. 1989 must have been a great year, because I see there's all the people that are here for 25 years. There's a slew of you guys. This is 1989. Holy cow! Would you offer them bonuses or something? Or, but it is absolutely great, and all your families and friends that are here to help you celebrate. We and I know I speak for all the citizens of this community. We're indebted to you, and we thank you all for your service to this community and to make it a better place to live for all of us. And I have, if you'd like to have my picture, it'll $25 in the back. You can pick those up. No. In closing, I'd just like to say God bless all of you, and thank you, and thank you. And those of you who are going to, is the person that's here 50 years, are they still working?
Very hard every day.
Well, I'm sure he is. He's working here. He's working hard. We don't have any slackers. But that's unbelievable. What are we going for, 60, 70? But that is absolutely fantastic. And thank you. And let's get on with the ceremony.
Okay, our first award today is going to be actually our Hats Off Award. Hats Off Award is an award intended to recognize the contribution of any employee or group of employees who go above and beyond the call of duty. So we do have an employee that's receiving that award today. That would be Keith Glasgow from Transportation and Parking Management. And if he and Evan Morey would come up, Evan's going to present the award today to Keith.
Good morning. Restricted to 2 minutes, but I'm going to try to tell this story in a little bit different way than is on the back of the card, because there is more to the story. And since I'm first, I'll try to make it a little bit funny, which might fall flat, but I'll try. Basically, this is a story where this kind of happened twice, not just once. But 2 winters ago, we started having our meters being jammed in the downtown area. Somebody was actually taking the Discover Downtown guides, folding them up, folding a little portion of it up, putting it in the meter, kind of forming a V, so when customers went to pay the meter, the money would get stuck. And then he'd come back later with tweezers and pull them out, or bang the back of the meter until it popped out. And of course, we filed a police report. The police were on the lookout for this person, but they didn't do too many at once. They did it discreetly, and so it continued to occur for about a week, and we were unjamming meters, and we were getting complaints from customers that they paid the meter, but they still got a ticket because it didn't register any time. So then we had to start making sure we checked every meter to make sure it wasn't jammed before we issued a ticket. It was a big problem. So Keith came to me and he said, "Do you want me to go find this guy?" and I said, well, it made me a little nervous the way that he said it. He's 26 and a half years at the police department before he came to work for Transportation and Parking. So I said, yes, but be careful and make sure you work closely with the active duty officers. So 4 hours later, he called me and said, I got him. And just had to go out and watch and observe, and found the guy, followed him at a safe distance, called the downtown deployment team, who came and got him. So That's 2 winters ago. He was arrested, charged. He had to pay restitution. So this person was a snowbird. He spent his winters down here, and he went back to Ohio during the summers. So on his next winter in St. Petersburg, he had changed his looks. He was not paying his restitution that he owed us, but I think he was working on trying to get the money saved aside to pay his restitution, because he was doing the same thing again. We didn't know that, but Keith came to me again and said, "You want me to find him?" And I said, "Yeah, but same as last time, make sure you are careful." So it doesn't say it here, but on his birthday, he got up at 3 or 4 o'clock in the morning, had arranged a little mini stakeout with some of our active officers, and by 8 o'clock in the morning, he called me and said, "Got him again." So people find lots of different ways to steal from parking, and this one had it interesting. But I'll tell you one real quick one from another city. Same kind of situation, but the guy, after he got the meters jammed, he'd come back and he'd put his mouth on the coin slot and he'd suck the coins back into his mouth and then spit them into his hand. Put them into his pocket. So sorry for that story, but there are all sorts of different ways. So anyways, for Keith helping to apprehend this person 2 times in a row, he was nominated for Hats Off Award, and well deserved. Thank you, Keith.
Checking to make sure your feet were on the line.
Toes on the line.
Chief, you notice it's standing room only here today, and so before I talk about you a little bit, I want to make sure the fire marshal's not here, is he? Uh-oh. Please don't cite us. So Chief Large was hired in 1974 to the department at the tender age of 18 years old. Which was a banner year in music in 1974 with such great hits as The Way We Were, Seasons in the Sun, The Streak, and Billy Don't Be a Hero. He was appointed fire chief in 2006, has been a firefighter EMT, lieutenant, training officer, a captain, district chief, assistant chief of operations, and assistant chief of prevention. Educational background, the chief has a associate's degree in fire prevention, an associate's degree in fire suppression, bachelor's degree in organizational studies, a master's degree in business. He's a graduate of Leadership St. Pete, graduate of the Leadership Development Institute. He's been certified by the National Fire Protection Association as a fire protection specialist. He holds a chief fire officer designation from the Commission on Professional Credentialing. Chief mentioned as his memorable work moment that I have had the experience of saving people's lives and property. I've worked with some of the finest men and women in the world during those experiences. Every moment of that experience has been memorable. And under additional information, and I wanted to finish with this and recognize him, he said, "I am truly blessed to work in the city I love, in the profession I love, serving alongside 330 dedicated professionals of St. Pete Fire and Rescue that I love." The ability to do a job every day, do it well, enjoy coming to work every day is truly a blessing. And I believe that as a community, we have truly been blessed to have had 40 years of service, 40 outstanding years of service from Chief Large, and I am truly honored to be able to present him with this recognition today for 40 years of incredible service to this community. As I mentioned, from a firefighter to his service today as our chief of our incredibly talented and outstanding fire department, which I think is the best in not only the state but the country. So thank you for your service to us for 40 years, Chief.
I just want to say real quick, my wife couldn't be here because she had to work and my children are taking final exams, but my extended family's here, and I would ask that all the fire department members come up for one moment for one picture with me, if you would. We got to do it quick. We got 2 minutes. We also all have to get on the line. I wanted to first take a housekeeping moment. The front rows are available now. I know in the past we've not sat in them for my presentations. The jacket was snug, I admit, but this is a brand new jacket. The buttons will not fly off and hurt you. You are allowed to sit up here now. Okay, with that, we'll get started with our Fire Department Recognition Awards. I'd like to bring up John Barfield. Great. John has 30 years. I don't have the hire date on here, so I apologize, but his wife, Nancy, couldn't be with us today, or his children, Brian and Sarah, they're in school. John's awards and commendations. In 2005, he received the Florida State Department of Health EMT of the Year. In 2006, he was the Pinellas County EMT of the Year. In 2006, he was also our Department A-Shift EMT of the Year. And in 2006, he was Pinellas County School Volunteer of the Year at Bay Point Elementary School. 2011, Ed White Hospital EMS Superstar, and Presidential Volunteer Award for 600 hours of volunteer work. Yep, absolutely. He has his firefighter certification, his EMS and EMT certification from, I think from St. Pete College. He's a driver engineer, a truck operator. He's on the elevated rescue team. He's on the Pinellas County Hazardous Materials team member. He's on the St. Pete College EMS Steering Committee, Rules and Regs Committee, and the St. Pete Fire and Rescue EMS Committee. He's certified as a driver, a truck operator, elevated rescue, and Pinellas County Hazmat team member. His most memorable moment, successful rescue of a drowning victim, a 7-year-old girl. That's a great moment. As I mentioned earlier, his community involvement, he's a Pinellas County school volunteer, he's a Doorways mentor, he's a community activist in his neighborhood association. His hobbies include the beach, biking, and volunteering. And I have to tell you, they have a much larger font on the typewriter. When you, I mean, this is with cheaters, I can't even see it. So anyway, please join me in congratulating John Barfield on 30 years of service.
Good morning. It's an honor to be here with all the fellow workers, families, Mr. Mayor, Chief, not Chief Large. I'm a third-generation native St. Petersburg resident. My grandfather used to drive streetcars down Central Avenue. So when I had the chance as a young man to look into the fire service, to give back to the community, it was a no-brainer for me. And it's been 30 years of pure enjoyment. People you work with are your second family. And thank you very much.
Okay, Jake Solomon, would you come up and bring your family with you, please? With Jake is his wife, Elisa, who is also a firefighter on our department. So, Jake, you were hired on in 1989 in April. That's not on here again. And his most recent, in fact, he is the current Firefighter of the Year for St. Pete Fire and Rescue. He has a degree from Hillsborough Community. He is a mentor. He's a state fire inspector and certified engine and truck driver. He's an EMT, and he's a TRT trained and certified. His most memorable moment was being nominated by his peers for Firefighter of the Year. It was truly an honor to be thought of in that context. His community involvement, working with kids at different schools, and his hobbies, if you can't tell, is staying fit. And, Jake, we're extremely proud of you, not only for your accomplishment with your time on the longevity, but as our Firefighter of the Year is well-deserved, and I think this is a great moment to recognize that along with your longevity. I present to you Firefighter Jake Solomon. Ed Dietz, could you come up, please? As Ed's coming up, Ed and I came on together back in February of 1974. Ed was hired as a firefighter originally, and he's okay with me telling you. He had a condition that he was unaware of that forced him out of the fire department, but he was such a valuable employee, and he's really a great guy, that the city kept him, and he's been here for 40 years as well. He's worked for us in the fire department in our shop and supply division. As I mentioned, he was hired in February of '74. His award, he says, is he got an award for awesomeness.
You could be a politician.
He absolutely is awesome. That's as good a word as I could come up with. Ed is Mr. Everything. His most memorable moment was when he was hired as a firefighter. And his hobbies are camping, long walks on the beach, under the moonlight, wine. He has a Harley, and that's a hobby as well. His department activities, he says, are everything. And as I said it, he's Mr. Everything. He keeps every station running with what they need on a quick basis. We have temporary problems or minor problems, Ed's there. We have major problems, Ed's there. Sometimes I would say he saves the city a lot of money. We don't call a plumber, we don't call an electrician. We do it all by the book. Just, but Ed saves a lot of money. Like I said, I've known Ed for 40 years, and he's just an outstanding individual. He's really shown me a tremendous amount of courage, a tremendous amount of perseverance, and he's just a great role model. And I just want to congratulate Ed Dietz, and I ask you to join me in 40 years of service to the city. That concludes that, and I just want to make a quick comment, if I could. On the 40 years, it's been unbelievable. It's been great. Said the people that I've had the opportunity to work with that are no longer here. There was a lot of great, employees of the city. The people that are still here, that you're going to meet some more of them. I look out in the audience that have been here just as long. It's truly just an outstanding organization. Always has been, through the ups, through the downs. But the only reason it is all of you. It's people that make it an outstanding organization. So I'm extremely proud to be here today with all of you. And I would have one last message. My wife couldn't be here but my son's only 14. She told me to ask you, Mayor, I need another 40. So, thank you.
Thank you, Chief Large, for being entertaining as always. Next on the agenda, we have real estate and property management. Is Bruce Grimes with us? And he's going to introduce Ava Nelson.
Thank you and good morning. It's a pleasure to be here and recognize Ava, although compared to Chief Large, she's only been here half as long. But Ava began with the city in 1994 with the Employee Relations Department, the Training Division, and then went to the Economic Development and Real Estate Department in 1996. She was there as an administrative secretary, and an opportunity came up with the Real Estate Division in 2000 for a real estate agent position that opened up. And since she works on council material and had prepped herself very well in understanding what the real estate transactions were, it became an opportunity that she wanted to explore. So we gave her the opportunity, and Ava now, in addition to overseeing our lease management, still does the council backup, but is the big part of her function is overseeing over 100 leases with the city, a lot of which are with Parks and Rec. She handles the council material and has to interface with all the administrators and a lot of directors to get those things accomplished. But in all of that, what she didn't understand when she was wanting to take on some more responsibility with handling those leases is that quantity of 100, her first task was I wanted her to review them, summarize them, make sure all our documentation was up to speed. So she had to read all the 100 leases that we had and document those. It wasn't until sometime later that she actually told me she hated reading. Ava's also serves on the board of directors for the YWCA, which she's been on for the last couple of years. She handles the budget coordination for the department, and overall just does a tremendous job with the city, as all of you do that have been here for this length of time. And one of the interesting statistics in looking at things yesterday, it appears that nationally with the millenniums, the newest generations for people after 1977, that the average time on jobs is only like 3.3 to 5.4 years. You know, so for all of you that have been here 20 years to 40 years and even 50 for Lloyd Thomas, which is amazing, just want to congratulate all of you, and it's a great thing for the city to be able to develop that kind of talent and be able to maintain it. So congratulations, Ava, on your 20 years with the city.
Next up, my chief, Chief Takei, if you'll come on up for the police department.
Well, good morning, and thank you. I'd also like to extend my congratulations to all the recipients today, especially Chief Large after 40 years. It's been a great length of service that you've given to the city, and we appreciate that. I have a number of employees from the police department. I'd like to first start out with Officer Mike Birch. Mike's been with the police department for 25 years. He's currently in patrol, and he works in District 3, the western part of the city, and he's a member of our CERT team. He's worked in all the other districts. He's also worked in the street crimes unit as well as our field training unit. He's received the Life Saving Award. He's also very active in the Coast Guard. He's a U.S. Coast Guard boarding team member, a boarding officer, Maritime Law Enforcement Academy. He's also served overseas on a number of occasions. As a member of the military service, he's been deployed in Operation Iraqi Freedom, relief operations with Hurricane Katrina, JTF operations in Guantanamo Bay, Cuba, the Haitian earthquake response, and Operation Enduring Freedom. I know it's kind of unusual to see Mike back in the halls sometimes because I know he's back and forth and he goes all over the world for the benefit of our country. He's completed a number of Coast Guard academies. He's been an 11-year member of the Port Security Unit, number 307, and he's currently a member of the Law Enforcement Response Sector with the Coast Guard here in St. Petersburg. He doesn't list any hobbies, but I guess his hobby is serving our country. But, you know, Mike's a solid guy. He's very organized. He takes care of a lot of things in the department, you know, technology and organizing. He's always the one we go to when we want something done right. You know, I just can't say enough about your 25 years of service to both the city and our country. And for that, I appreciate it, and I'd like to congratulate you for 25 years. Next, I'd like to call up a 30-year employee, Mike Salona. I think everybody's here. Your wife, Julie, daughters, Elizabeth, Lisa, and Michelle, his son, Anthony, and father, Tony, is in the crowd here. Welcome, Tony. As I said, Mike's been with our department for 30 years. He's currently a detective in our Vice and Narcotics unit and has been so for the last 16 years. Other assignments he's had was 5 years in homicide, a year in burglary. He was a field training officer for 3.5 years, and he was in patrol for the rest of the time. He's got a number of awards. He was the 1992 Field Training Officer of the Year. He's been nominated as, or he's received the Employee of the Quarter in several years. And our Vice and Narcotics unit has a distinguished award they give within the unit called the Herb Sullivan Distinguished Service Award. He received that in 2002. He's also got the 2003 Narcotic Enforcement Officers Association Award, and as well as being nominated for Officer of the Year in 2010. When asked about a memorable work moment, he mentioned a couple. One of them was the 1994 Davidson homicide. If you all recall, in that year, there was a brutal murder of a Bayfront Hospital doctor. Mike helped close the case with the arrest of the wife and 2 hired hitmen who fled the country, and it was quite an involved, extensive case. As a matter of fact, I think we've even had some episodes done on TV.
Yeah,
some
America's Most Wanted, Forensic Files.
Yeah, a couple of it garnered national attention, that case, and there's been some subsequent television shows about it. Although we did get the wife and the killers, and they all received the death penalty in this pretty involved case. So good work on that one. And also in 2002, in Operation Project X, a Vice and Narcotics case that he led, resulted in seizing 9.5 kilos of cocaine and 38 individuals arrested. And those cases, again, are multi-agency and multi-year operations generally. A lot of extensive work on that. When he's not doing that kind of thing, he's quite involved with the sport of hockey. He's the head hockey coach of the Pinellas Sheriff's Police Athletic League. He's the head hockey coach for the Tampa Bay Lightning sled hockey program, which is a program for disabled athletes. And he's the assistant hockey coach for the Palm Harbor University High School. So he spends a lot of time with that. And go figure, one of his hobbies is hockey, as well as fishing and hunting. Mike gives a lot to the department, and as you can see, to the community. He's always involved himself to the fullest extent. and he's been doing it for 30 years, and we appreciate that service and hope it continues, and I want to congratulate you. Thank you much, Mike. Next, I'd like to invite up Gary Dukeman. Lieutenant Dukeman. Gary is a lieutenant with our agency and has been working for us for 25 years. He's currently assigned as our 4th relief commander. He kind of keeps an eye on all the activities going on downtown, which probably takes more than one eye to do that these days. It's very busy, as you all know. Gary received the, as well as being the 4th Relief Commander, he's worked many assignments throughout the department. He's been on the DUI squad, he's been in community policing for many years, and really excelled in that field. He's been in the burglary unit, supervising a squad of detectives there. He's been in the field training unit, as well as the reserve unit liaison and special events. He was a special events coordinator for a number of years, as well as assignments in patrol. He's received a number of awards as well. Our prestigious Ned March Bud Purdy Award was given to him in 2009. He received the PAL Volunteer of the Year Award in 1993, and he started out with an award in his recruit academy, number 104, when he received the academic award. And you've been receiving that every year since, I think. He's well known for his documentation. He's got a Bachelor of Arts degree in criminology from the University of South Florida, and he's been a past member of Leadership St. Pete. He was in class of 2006. Some of his memorable work moments that he mentions is most recently being the department coordinator for the 2012 Republican National Convention. And as we know, that was a huge effort. It was like a moving target for a long time until it finally got settled down into the huge event that it was. He's also coordinated department and city support for the convention's kickoff event at Tropicana Field, as well as a lot of the Tampa activities. Also, as part of special events, he's coordinated support for presidential, vice presidential, and presidential candidate visits. I myself did a little stint in special events as well as some others, and when Gary was involved in that, I just recognized that 1,000-yard stare that we all get. When somebody comes up and says, President who is coming when? Tomorrow? A lot of these events, that's the one thing about special events is you can't put it off till next week. If there's a date of an event, you have to get everything done then. And there's no question about it. You have to organize, you have to prepare, and you have to execute the plan, which is a big part of what we do in public safety. And Gary excels at that. It's not listed here, but I know in the World Series with baseball, every day was planning a Super Bowl. The result of one game depended on whether there was going to be a game the following day, and you had to be organized and get through that as well. So, deadlines are one of those things you just take and go with them. And that's really a good quality to have, and I know you've exhibited that all these years. But, I appreciate being in special events because I know how hairy it can get sometimes. Prior to police work, he had many retail jobs, gas stations, supermarkets, I guess restaurants, washing dishes. The man will do anything necessary. That's been proven time and time again. Gary's also big with the Boy Scouts. He's Eagle Scout himself, and he's been a lifelong supporter of the Boy Scouts. I know he's always bringing Eagle Scouts to the station, and your own family as well. You're a big supporter. And along with that goes a love with the outdoors, camping, backpacking, scuba diving, and he's looking forward to lobstering in the Keys this August. Legally, of course, right?
6 a day.
But, you know, I've said a lot about Gary, and it all holds true. He's well respected in the department. He's achieved the rank of lieutenant, and he's, I think, going to go further. I think he's got his career is not over yet, but he's got an exemplary career thus far, and I just can't say enough about the service you've given us, Gary, and I thank you for 25 years. Next, I'd like to call up James Gilmore, an officer with our department. He likes to be called Gil, so I'll go with that. Gil has been with us for 25 years. He's currently assigned to patrol in District 3, and in the past he's been a member of our DARE unit and our SROs, the School Resource Officers. He's received a life-saving award during his time with us, and he's, I guess a memorable work moment that he was talking about was assisting Hank Aaron and Ted Williams during Rays games when they were honored at those events. Before coming to us, he was, you were a paint lab tech?
Yep.
Kind of. Worked for Dyco Paints and formulated and tested a lot of paints. He's also in his community involvement. He lists that he's a golf coach for the National Youth Sports Program for the last 7 years. And he enjoys being with his family, fishing, golfing, and leisure activities. And before we started today, he told me that he's the only Seahawks fan in Florida. And he was very defensive about that. But Gil's been a solid performer with the department. He's, you know, steady and held true for all these years, and he's a dependable officer. We know what to expect from him, and he's given us good service for 25 years, and I want to congratulate you for that, Gil. Thank you. Now I'd like to call up Sergeant Dale Mushan. Dale's approaching with his wife, Roseanne. But Dale's marking 25 years with the police department today, and he currently, it's unusual seeing you in uniform, but he's typically in soft clothes, we call it. He's the supervisor of our intelligence unit for the last couple years. He's had many assignments in the department. He's been in patrol, he's been in the traffic section, he's been on the SWAT team, he's been in community policing for a number of years. He was also in our K-9 unit, as well as the intelligence division. He's also been in field training and in the auto theft unit in Investigative Services Bureau as a supervisor there. So he's had a number of assignments throughout the department, and as I said, today he's our intelligence unit supervisor. He's received the Life-Saving Award, and he's been twice named the FOP Officer of the Month. He has a bachelor's in Public Safety Administration, and he's also a high liability instructor in both firearms and defensive tactics. He was formerly in the U.S. Army Reserves, and he's currently a Pinellas County School volunteer. you made me laugh with your memorable work moments, so I'll share that with you. He says there have been many memorable moments over the last 25 years. Police work guarantees variety in your work. Where else can you be dispatched to change a light bulb, break up a family fight over a pork chop, and still have opportunities to catch the real bad guys? And that really is a good remark, because we're called to do many things out in the field. We're the first line of defense for people, and the first thing people turn to help sort out their problems. So if it's not solving a crime, we're solving some domestic issues or some light bulb issues or what have you. Dale enjoys running and adventure races, and before his 25 years here at the department, he was a police explorer. He was, in 1984, he was an explorer prior to becoming an officer with our department. Dale, being in the intelligence unit, we have occasion to talk quite a bit of things I can't talk to you about. But, you know, a lot goes on behind the scenes. There's a lot to keep track of, and Dale does a great job at doing that, especially recently with all the terrorism, domestic, homeland security issues. We keep track of those things, and we try and keep on the edge of those issues. And Dale's job is to not only monitor our city, but to keep track of what other agencies are doing within the region and around the country. So it is a big job, and it's an important job, and Dale's certainly up to the task. He's been up to every task for the last 25 years, and I congratulate you for that, Dale. Thank you. Invite up Dan Mullinex. Looks up. He looked surprised when I called his name. Dan's been with us for 25 years. He's currently an officer in District 3, again, the western portion of our city.
District 3 Day, I love it.
You know, we ask employees to give us a few thoughts about themselves so we can share with everybody.
It's all right there, 25 years. What?
25 years, yeah. But there's a lot incorporated in that 25 years, Dan, and
this is pretty much it.
He lists golf as a hobby, which is not work-related. But, you know, I went to your file, because I know, no, we kid, but Dan's a humble guy. You know, we've worked around each other for 25 years. You know, he's one of those solid performers that you can depend on. I mean, his supervisor, in his most recent eval, and they're all really good evals, mentioned it's a pleasure supervising somebody with experience, expertise, and maturity. And I think those three values go a long way. You've been doing this job a long time. You're not surprised by things. You know what's going on. You know how to deal with people. I've not seen as many good guy letters in a file as yours in a long time. And all the letters revolve around his qualities of being helpful, easygoing, being kind to people. You know, he helps people through difficult times. Again, with the experience and maturity of a senior officer. And that's so valuable these days, because that's what the public expects when they call for help. And I think Dan's one of those guys who can deliver that on a daily basis with little fanfare, but with great results. So I know you're a modest guy, and I don't want to discount the fact that you've been a hard worker and you've done a great job for 25 years, Dan. I hope you keep it up.
Thanks, sir.
Thank you. Rodney Tower. Detective Rodney Tower has been with us also for 25 years. He's currently assigned to the homicide unit. He's been there since 2008. Rodney's been another active member of the department. He was in our burglary unit from 2005 to 2008. He's been in our field training unit. He's been on the SWAT team. He's been in community policing also for a number of years, the gang intelligence unit, as well as patrol officer duties. Some of the awards he's received is the Florida West Coast chapter of the American Society for Industrial Security for outstanding service and dedication to law enforcement. He received that award in 1996, as well as an Officer of the Year nomination in 1995. He's also received Ned Marsh Award nominations twice, and he's also been named the Florida Property Recovery Unit Investigator Detective of the Year Award in 2006. He was also a member of the Homicide Unit of the Year in 2007. He has an AA degree from St. Pete College, and he's also a mentor since 2010 at Northeast High School. He's currently a member of the International Homicide Investigator Association members. He's also a member of the Florida Homicide Investigators Association. He's been an active board member since 2010. Rod's had a very active career. Is that one way to put it?
Way to go.
Yeah, he always puts 110% into everything he does, and he worked for me for a number of years. I had to slow him down a little bit because he was just so active, getting involved in everything. And I think even today he still has that energy and that drive, but he's really got it focused in his assignment in homicide. I think that's not an out front kind of a position in the department, but I know that a lot of work goes into that position. And you've been doing that a number of years, and you've solved a lot of difficult cases, and you've put a lot of time and effort into solving those cases, and it's not always easy. And I know the homicide unit works as a team, and he's really an integral part of that team. I know where he was kind of out front in the field for many years, he's really working hard behind the scenes to close these cases. And I think that's something that doesn't get a lot of play, so to speak, but it certainly is appreciated in the department. And the victims of these homicides appreciate all the hard work we put into it. And he's not done yet either. This is another employee. He's still going as well as he was the first day he hit the streets. And that's a commendable attitude. And I know you've come a long way, and you've got a ways to go, Rod. But I appreciate all the 25 years you put in, and you've given us exceptional service. And I appreciate that, and I know the community appreciates that. So thank you, Rod.
We're going to change things up just a little bit right now since the mayor has to leave. We're going to have Phil Whitehouse come up to do Lloyd Thomas. Mayor, we're going to do Lloyd Thomas now. That way you can present his award to him.
Thank you. Can I ask Lloyd Thomas to come up here, please? Lloyd's daughter, Michelle, is here with him today. Wow. What a pleasure this is. Just as the mayor said, Lloyd's receiving his 50-year service award, and I wasn't even born when he started with the city. It is truly a pleasure and an honor today to introduce Lloyd to you all, and I doubt there's very many of you in this room that have not had contact with him over the past 50 years at some point in time. Lloyd is currently our Parks and Recreation Facility Systems Manager. He has had previous assignments. He started as an auto equipment operator with the Parks Department, a tree trimmer lead, Park District Foreman, Park Supervisor, Parks Manager, and of course his current role as he is right now. Over the years, he's received numerous awards and commendations. He received the Lou Leonard Safety Award in 1983. He received the Outstanding Performance Award, first one in the late 70s, one again in 2000, one in 2010, one in 2011, and he says he's been coasting since then. His educational background, this is an interesting one, because Lloyd received his GED. And I think his GED, and then he said the School of Hard Knocks. He has worked his way through the system. He has worked to become an extremely competent, organized individual. I always feel that his lack of formal education, he's more than made up for in the way he works at the job and with the organization that he has. He does a tremendous job. He deals with everybody. And for most of you that don't know him, he has a very good sense of humor, such that if you're in a meeting with him, you don't want to sit next to him because you'll end up laughing and you'll break up everybody else. But I do want to make that point. He's overcome that, and he's gone on. He's probably one of the more educated people that I know. His memorable work moment is the first day he started work. He was assigned to work with two grumpy old men. He still is. One was assigned as a crew leader, and the other one was mad because he wasn't. At lunch, they sat apart, and he was beckoned to sit and eat lunch with each of them. So he had to choose one or the other each day, or he had to sit by himself. He thought, is this how it's going to be for the rest of my work career? And it is. Prior employment is too far back to remember. Something about landscape and sod installation and the garden drive-in, but there's other stories about the garden drive-in. His hobbies and outside interests are NASCAR, and I know he does a lot of work around the house. He takes days off for vacation, and he comes back to work to rest because he works around the house all the time. He says he's seen a lot of changes during his tenure. He said he's learned many things from his coworkers and the many supervisors he's had that's made it easier to come to work. He's put some numbers on, he says, put some numbers on the banner. I'm not finished yet. See, it only goes to 40. Lloyd, I got to tell you, it's been an honor and a pleasure to work with you. It has been a blessing for me. I have learned more from Lloyd probably than anybody else in the department. So, Lloyd, thank you very much for 50 years of service. I'm going to continue with our next 20-year recipient, Kathleen J. Brew, or Katie as everybody knows her. Katie? Katie has her husband Stuart and mother Jane, if they'd like to come up and join her. Once again, this is an honor. Katie is a 20-year city employee. She's kind of mixed that up a little bit in that she started with the city Parks and Recreation Department and went over to the fire department until she finally realized there's better things out there. and came back and joined us. So, Katie's currently serving as our Safety and Training Officer in the Parks and Recreation Department. Her previous assignments: in 1994, she was a recreation aide at Shore Acres, promoted to the rec leader, Tasco Summer Special Events. She's worked as a cashier clerk at Northwest, Walter Fuller, Childs Park, and Willis S. Johns. She was then promoted to Rec Supervisor 1, Rio Vista Park Play Camp, where she served for 9 years from 2008 to 2013. She served as the Safety and Training Officer and Public Education Specialist for the St. Petersburg Fire and Recreation Department prior to coming here. In 2002, she received the Fire and Recreation. I'm sorry, the Fire Department. She received numerous awards. She was a 2002 Employee of the Quarter Award winner. 2008, she was the after-school program. Her after-school program achieved a Recreation Department all-time high score of 3 stars. In 2009, Katie coordinated volunteer efforts for the Great American Teach-In on behalf of St. Pete Fire Rescue, helping them earn the Mayor's coveted Crystal Apple Award for the most departmental participation in the annual career day. She served on the Pinellas Council Suncoast Safe Kids Executive Board, served as chair of the Suncoast Safe Kids Water Safety Committee, and was featured in Mayor Foster's forecast for her efforts in promoting drowning prevention programs in St. Petersburg. Her memorable work moment was coordinating transportation for 200 children from a flooded Rio Vista to higher ground at Fossil Park after a tidal surge made it impossible for parents to pick up their kids. Learning how to slide the fire pole from third floor of the master fire station was also a significant achievement in her career.
Trained by a chief to do that.
Trained by a chief. Katie has worked as a preschool teacher prior to her employment with the city, and her community involvement. Since her son's 2008 autism diagnosis, Katie has become an expert advocate for children with special needs. Her son Cameron was featured on 2013 All Children's Hospital Telethon for his amazing strides. Katie is an active member of the National Autism Association and a mentor for other mothers who have children blessed with autism. Her outside hobbies: she's a mother of 3 boys, Owen, who is 9, Cameron 8, and Graham 2. Katie enjoys spending time with her family, shell and shark's tooth hunting on the beach. She enjoys Pinterest. What is Pinterest? Pinterest. What's Pinterest? And saltwater fishing. Over her 5 years with the St. Pete Fire Rescue, Katie presented fire and life safety programs to more than 75,000 citizens. That's an awesome deal. And Katie, again, is joined by her husband, Stuart, and mother, Jane. Katie, thank you on behalf of Parks and Recreation and the Fire Rescue. Thank you. Next up is Lucinda Grant. Lucinda has sisters and brother-in-law, Linda, Frank, Catherine, and Mary here. Would they come join her? Come on up. Did I miss anybody? They didn't want to? No. Tough. Come on up. Thank you so much. Lucinda is actually celebrating her 30 years of service with the city. However, she had a little bit of a break in between there. So she had 11 years in other departments, HR, personal analyst, and she did background investigation for police and fire for 11 years, left the city, and then came back, joined us in the Parks and Recreation Department, where she's been for 20 years. So we are very pleased to have her. She's received numerous awards and recommendations over the years: St. Pete's Reads, Parks and Recreation Outstanding Performance Award, Employee Recognition Committee Chairperson, HR Tour Originator and Guide. One of the things she notes on here that she's been a loaned executive, and she's been loaned out numerous times. I think that tells you a lot about somebody. If people want you to come to loan you an employee, she's got to be pretty good to do that. So she has worked with the United Way. She's been on the assessments for both police and fire. been working with a number of other departments and agencies, and I know she's always done a great job with that, and we appreciate you for that. Memorable work moment, she effectively resolves a tough customer issue with a challenging citizen. And it says challenging, but that's not really the way it comes across. When they're on the phone with you, it's more than just challenging. But she is able to do it and deal with a person in a very calming way. And she actually received a thank you from that same individual that was upset in the very beginning. So she's being a leader in the Parks and Recreation Accreditation Team, and she's being chosen to participate in the city. She had been chosen to participate in the city management's intern program. She got her degree from the St. Pete College and University of South Florida. She received certifications from NC State, Parks and Recreation Maintenance Management School. Her prior employment, worked administratively since age 13 to help the family, mostly using clerical skills obtained in high school. Her community involvement, she's been in St. Pete Reed's partner. She's a former resident and volunteer with Jordan Park, a Project Nostalgia assistant, Leadership St. Petersburg graduate, and volunteer. Her outside hobby interests, and this is one thing you'll see about Lucinda over and over, is that she does things to help others. She's always working with outside agencies to help other people out. She inspires young ladies. She's a supporter and mentor to many. She's been with the National Forum for Black Public Administrators as a volunteer. She's a writer and servant outreach leader at church, and she loves to do event planning. She's done weddings and other events like that. She brought her family with her today, which we're pleased to see. And the one comment she wanted to make, and I love this saying, she says, "I am hallelujah happy and peacock proud to be the daughter of a strong and loving mother, Lizzie, who encouraged me to be all I could be. Even though she could not afford to send me to college, she did not discourage me from being a first-generation college graduate. I chose public sector over the private sector because I knew it would make a difference and be a blessing in the lives of others, and thereby be a blessing to me. One thing I have come to know is that if you love someone, you should tell them so. So take nothing for granted, for tomorrow is not promised, and today is already gone." Thank you, Lisa. Once again, it's a pleasure today to recognize Ken Wynn for his 25-year service award. Ken asked that he was able to bring his staff here because he's been working with them down on the waterfront. So, guys, for Ken's, just wave your hands back there. Everybody recognize Ken's staff. They wanted to take this opportunity to recognize Ken for his service as well. Ken's been with us 25 years. He started out as a Parks and Recreation Maintenance Worker 1 and worked his way up to a 2, and to his current position of Parks and Recreation Maintenance Lead Worker. I'm going to say to Ken, the first about 10 years of his service, he was just simply a parks worker. He didn't really have any aspirations to do much more than that. And in the last 10, 15 years, he's really stepped it up and become a very important part of our team. He's gone to a number of leadership schools, a number of the training classes the city has provided. He has worked his way up into this position of maintenance lead worker and is really doing a very, very nice job with it. We appreciate what he's doing. As a memorable work moment, he was working on the interstate and he saved a coworker from being hit by a car. He made an amazing effort in that, and again, took exceptional care for this other individual. His memorable work moment was being promoted to a lead worker. And I think most importantly, with 25 years of service, he's taken upon himself to go back to college. And I'm really proud of him for doing that. He's looking to get further and further ahead. And I think that says a lot about an individual at this date, in this stage in his life, that he will take and go back to college and earn his degree. He's also worked with the union, and he's been one of their union stewards for a number of years. And he's worked in helping both the department and the union get people together and get them on the same page, which sometimes is an unusual situation. His hobbies, outside hobbies, are fishing, hunting, and playing cards. And again, with the information that he is going back to school, I want to thank him and hope you huge success in that effort. And we look forward to it. Tells me the math is a little bit harder than you remembered when he was first in school. So, but he's working at it.
Call Stephanie Lamp and her parents up here. We are here to congratulate Stephanie on 30 years of service with the city of St. Petersburg. She came here when she was a kid, right out of college. Stephanie is currently the Senior Housing Development Coordinator, and she's worked in the housing department from 1992 to the current date. Prior to that, she was a planner two in urban design and historic preservation, and she was a planner one from 1984 to 1988. Stephanie doesn't list any awards here, but really the awards that we have are the monthly congratulations from HUD that we are in the top 5 percentile nationwide of expending home funds. She also did not put that she is the lead person for the Neighborhood Stabilization Program. That's a $12 million program that we funding that we received from the U.S. Department of Housing and Urban Development. We've produced numerous new housing in the Midtown in Childs Park. We also have over 1,000 units of multifamily development. The City Place, the Portland, Booker Creek, Campbell Landings, these are multifamily developments that have just been built within the last 4 to 5 years. And Stephanie takes the lead in that also. Stephanie has a bachelor's degree of landscape architecture from the University of Illinois. She does attend many HUD training because otherwise she will not be able to do what she does. And her memorable work moment is each ribbon cutting of new affordable housing developments in the city, and for the renovation or production of over 1,500 affordable multifamily units since 2000. Her prior employment, well, she came right here out of college, and her community involvement includes cultural academic student exchange program, 3 exchange students from Germany who spent their junior year at Lakewood, previously also participated in the Mayor's Mentors and More program. Her hobbies includes rollerblades, kayaking, paddle boarding. She's a season ticket holder for the Lightning and also for the Rays, since day one for the Rays. She also loves to travel, and additional information besides Europe, New Zealand, and Australia. Her travels included all but 4 of the 50 states, missing only Hawaii, North Dakota, Nebraska, and Delaware. And so I ask you to join me in congratulating Stephanie for 30 years of service. One more staff member today, Christine Crowley, and her mom. Okay. Christine has been with the city 25 years. She is a Rehabilitation Officer 1. Her previous assignments includes Junior League, Recreation Aide, Recreation Leader, Codes and Permit Technician 1, Codes and Permit Technician 2, and Permitting Supervisor. She awards. She's a lead-based paint risk assessor. She is certified in lead-based paint assessment. Christine has an AA in elementary education from St. Pete College and classes, working in classes toward an interdisciplinary social science degree at USF. Memorable work moment. Her memorable work moment or experience was the second day on the job in housing. The Chinook Apartments complex was closed down and a lot of folks were displaced. She got the opportunity to work with the entire city and public service agencies from around the city to relocate all of the folks who were displaced. And her prior employment, she's been here with the city since high school. Her community involvement has been the Student Advisory Committee and North Shore Elementary, previous PTA board at Bay Point Middle School. And her hobbies are, most of her extra time revolves around her kids and their activities. Zumba, what is that? Oh, okay. And she also likes to travel because she's been traveling to New York to go and see the Rays play at, what is it, not Shea Stadium, but their new stadium, Yankee Stadium. So she does travel quite often. And I would like to thank Christine because she is one of 2 housing rehabilitation officers that we have. And her job is basically to prepare work write-ups for rehabilitations that have to be implemented. She also works with us to ensure that all of the new construction, the new houses that are being built in the community are brought in on time. And she is also the person whom they call when there are any burglaries or incidences at these houses. They would call her. She then worked with the police department to resolve the issues. So with that, I would ask that you join me in thanking Chrissy for 25 years of service.
Good afternoon. Is it the afternoon yet, or? It's pretty amazing. Yeah, I'm timed to 2 minutes. Okay. We're here to recognize Maureen Palmer. She's 20 years with the city of St. Pete, all of which have been in the codes department, which is remarkable in and of itself. She spent the first year as a specialist and 9 years as an investigator, and then 10 years as our demolition coordinator. As a demolition coordinator, Maureen has the opportunity to see the worst that the city has to offer regarding property. And she spends every single day basically looking at properties that we are about to condemn. So it is a very difficult job. It is an extremely complicated job, one that I don't really understand completely. But she does an absolute excellent job at doing that. She's extremely professional. She works with those individuals, and one of her proudest moments is that she has down here is being able to help and relocate some children that were in a deplorable condemned house and able to get them into better housing, into a better environment. Maureen is one of the nicest people you could possibly have to knock on your door and tell you that we're going to have to probably take it down. She does an outstanding job, and what I found really surprising when I was reading through the bio is your outside interest. Is it really cliff diving and base jumping, or no? She's more into the relaxing activities. So again, we're here to recognize Maureen, and thank you for 20 years of service, Maureen.
It's indeed a pleasure to recognize 40 years of a distinguished service with Director Joe Kreisman. Joe making his way to the podium. He is accompanied here today with his mom, Betty, his mother-in-law, his Larry and Edie, his brother-in-law's sister, and Darlene, his wife of 30-plus years. Please join Joe if you would. Before you is a man in his late 50s, having served 40 years with the city. So if you do the math, you realize that Joe actually started with the city before he graduated from high school. He's pumping gas at those same fuel dispensing devices at the fleet complex that do so today. What was the price then? That's a good question, yeah. His career with the city could be considered somewhat genetic in as much as his father served a long and illustrious career with our Parks and Recreation Department. Joe's entire career has been with fleet maintenance, as I said, starting with pumping gas, and then 11 years as a mechanic, 3 years as a foreman, 6 years in parts, 15 years as an operations manager, followed by his 2010 appointment to directorship. Evolution and change can best describe Joe's career. In 1974, when he started, the city was still conducting bus business. We had our own bus system that wasn't transferred or given to PSTA until 10 years thereafter. The tractor shop preceded the currently named heavy equipment shop. Engines, alternators, and generators were rebuilt in-house, complemented with a machine shop and body shop, which have all given way to a more cost-effective outsourcing as designed by the auto industry. Since becoming director, Joe has presided over even more change. Work order management system now has computer kiosks in these service bays with the same individual swinging a wrench, then inputting data into a computer keyboard. Our parts business has been privatized, resulting in 50 less vendors with their respective contracts and monthly pay requests to be processed. He's overseen the successful merger of our sanitation maintenance duties into the fleet maintenance activities. 40 years is a time to reflect, and is not uncommon for long-term colleagues of Joe to recall the days of him arriving to work in his Caterpillar orange MG Midget. If you can remember those cars, they were about the size of a speed wagon. Joe was sporting an afro back in those days, and based on some photos I've seen, not bad for a white guy. It's a bit of a free spirit, appreciating the garb of bell-bottoms and tie-dyed shirts, and yes, your wife is to blame, yes. Joe's fondness of canines has produced a latest best friend called Lucy, a sweet Irish wolfhound mix with a muzzle that only an owner could love. I've seen Lucy many times, and Makes me think, what were the Irish thinking? Our city is blessed with the likes of Joe Kreisen. He's steady, he's even-keeled, he's professional, he's thoughtful, and most of all, he's intelligent and caring about his job. Ladies and gentlemen, Joe Kreisen. Next, as he makes his way to the podium for 25 years of distinguished service, please welcome Jerry Fortney. Jerry's 25 years were actually preceded by starting with the city 40 years ago. He did a short stint of 10 to 15 years in the private sector, working for a contractor before he returned to his rightful place with the city. He started as an equipment operator, then field supervisor, followed by construction inspector 1, then 2, then 3, then supervisor of pavement and signage maintenance before his directorship of stormwater, pavement, and traffic operations 2 years ago. Jerry's illustrious career with the city exemplifies innovative and cost-effective delivery of services. He is responsibly in charge of creating and implementing a number of in-house construction programs that got us through the tough years of economic recession by taking advantage of a budgetary situation that typically had more monies for projects than it had for operations, and then doing in-house construction programs that allowed for those project monies to get into the operating budget, thereby saving jobs and preserving services. The sidewalk repair program. We had a 2-year backlog that got into our penny CIP. Now it's down to 30 days or less to repair sidewalks. Major alley maintenance program, curb repair program, recycling of sign blanks, post and channel markers, recycling of fill and crushed concrete to the private sector. Mayor Kreisman mentioned earlier that he was going to make salads and foodstuffs for the department that saves the most money. Jerry, upon hearing that, said, "You're all playing for second." Jerry has developed this business model that has definitely been a benefit to our constituency and to his fellow public servants alike. Undoubtedly, he has returned more money to the general fund than anyone else. His developed and successful implementation of these programs has proven time and time again that innovation does indeed exist within the city and can get contagious when others wish to join in. Humble upbringing started in coal country of eastern Ohio, along the Muskingum River, or is commonly called a river rat. Born with 7 siblings, was not uncommon for the selling of night crawlers to help pay the monthly bills. Jerry served his country in a time of war, in the Vietnam War, where he pulled the difficult duty of a side gunner in an Army helicopter, with more missions than he cares to remember. He earned the Commendation Medal for Valor in those service. Upon returning from Vietnam, and perhaps desiring to forget some of those beleaguered days, he hitchhiked across the country. He served as a farmhand, a ranch hand, and he fished for a living until he finally got settled down with the city. He'd been married for 40 years, and in 1997, this gentleman got a degree from St. Leo, cum laude. That's called stick to it. I guess it's best said by stating this gentleman to my left is a man, and based on his humble beginnings, he's a noteworthy man. He's a man of noteworthiness. So thank you again, and Jerry, congratulations. Thank you.
That's a little hard to follow there, but a lot of things that happens in stormwater happens by the whole crew. We're all one over there. Everybody has the same mission, and we're here to recognize a couple of those people today that wish to come up. The first person would be Charles Doug Price. If you'd come up, please. We have a spot right here for you, Doug. When Patty first did the history of Doug, I saw the list that said Charles Price, and I said, "Who's Charles Price?" Because I've never known him as Charles. It's always been Doug, and I guess that's the way stormwater pavement and traffic ops is. Everybody has their own little niche, and Doug, that's all I've ever known him as. Doug has served 20 years with the city of St. Pete. His current assignment is stormwater technician. He's on the mowing crew. So basically, all the lakes, right-of-ways and stuff you see out there, when you see the crews out there, Doug is always there with them. He's one of the mower operators. His previous assignment was a stormwater apprentice. Awards and commendations, Doug worked with the United Way and Casa Day of Caring for approximately 8 years. He has a high school degree and graduated from P-Tech. Memorable work moments, he doesn't have any, or he didn't mention any, but I bet there's several that if he really sat down and thought about it, he'd come up with it with the crew and the people that he worked with. Prior employment, Doug worked for the city of Dunedin in the wastewater plant and also as a locksmith. Community involvement, he's involved in United Way and worked with abused orphans in the Marine Corps. Outside hobbies is cycling, and he loves his dog Jess, and it's a Keys Hound. And I'm not sure quite what a Keys Hound is, but I love dogs too, so hey, it's a good dog. Doug's also a veteran 4 years of the U.S. Marine Corps, and I thank you for your service. And there are no friends and family today, but we do have people from Stormwater. They came over to recognize Doug. And Doug, we want to thank you for your 20 years of service. Our next employee from Stormwater, another 20-year employee, is Mr. DeWitt Miller. If you'd come up, DeWitt. DeWitt is accompanied by his wife, Sandra, which is the first time I ever got to meet her. And there's a story behind all that, which I told DeWitt before we started today. I hope you can crawl under the podium after I get through with you. DeWitt's a 20-year employee, and the best part about the 20 years, I knew DeWitt's father back in 1974. His father and I used to run the old 3-wheel Elgin sweeper. And I hated that thing because if you went too sharp with it, it'd fall over on you. It'd flop over. So I said I didn't want anything to do with it. His dad took it over. His grandfather also worked for the city of St. Pete, so he's third generation. And that says a lot for St. Petersburg. The part about it, I knew his father, and with DeWitt always wanted to work for the city of St. Pete. That was his biggest wish. And the second biggest was to be a sweeper operator like his father. And that's currently what DeWitt does now. He is a sweeper operator with the Stormwater Pavement and Traffic Ops Division. He's an equipment operator too. He had previous assignments as maintenance worker 1. That was under the Public Works and General Maintenance days. He's an EO2 since 1995. Awards and commendations, many letters regarding his efforts for special projects, such as Lake Mayoral Dredging Project, My Happy Theater, and other special events like the Grand Prix. He sweeps every year during the race, and a couple years even got on TV on the track with the cars and was nationally televised. So, prior employment, DeWitt worked with the clearinghouse, shipping and department of legal documents and books. DeWitt says his most memorable work moment, which I was not going to do this, but I'm going to do it because it's his wish. When interviewing for maintenance worker 1 position, Mr. Miller walked into a room where several foremen were ready to meet with him. When they looked up, they all realized he was the son of a coworker by his features, particularly his beautiful, large head. DeWitt is an usher captain for Sunday services and special events at the Suncoast Cathedral. He loves pro wrestling, and his favorite wrestler is Virgil R. Runnels, which is alias Dusty Rhodes. He likes baseball, football. Naturally, it's the Rays and the Buccaneers. DeWitt has been married almost 15 years, and during this period, DeWitt and I worked together a lot on the paving, milling and resurfacing, day and night. We sometimes worked 20 hours a day. When the race first went around Tropicana Field, I said, I need a sweeper operator and one that's going to be with me. He stayed with me. So when he bought his new truck, I never got to ride in it. So when he bought his house, I never got to see it. So when he got married, I wasn't invited to the wedding.
But
then when he had
a lot of money, though.
But when he had his child, he didn't even name his son after me. His son is 12 years old, Davin, and he just published a children's book he just wrote and had a signing at one of the, South Branch Library about a month ago, wasn't it? Yes, sir. Okay. DeWitt, I want to thank you. It's been a pleasure knowing you.
Thank you, sir.
Way in the back now. All the front people must have left. First up, I'd like to invite Bob Valenti for 35 years of service and his family. Anyone else coming up?
Yes.
You get the line.
I would like to
Danette, Jenna, Joe, Evan. So as I said, this is Bob Valenti, and he's being honored for 35 years of service. His wife, Danette, his daughter, Jenna, and her husband, Joe, and Joshua and Evan. Bob is an athletic supervisor, too, with our athletics department. He recently transferred from our TASCO departments, which you can tell by the high turnout of TASCO staff here in the crowd. He's been a supervisor with us since he started with the city in 1978 as a recreation aide at Azalea. He then moved to Gladden Park, where he made some of the best decisions of his career, I think, hiring some very good staff members. He was first hired by Phil Whitehouse, who was up here earlier, but Bob hired me in 1982 to work at Gladden Park, and I've been around ever since. Bob has also worked at Childs Park. He worked there for 5 years. He worked at Willis Johns, Northwest, as I said, TASCO for 17 years. He was the face of TASCO. During that time, he did a lot of memorable activities. Some of his most memorable work events was at TASCO. The TASCO Showcase of Achievement, the Mayor's Showcase of Achievement, which we just had, was one of his children. The Fit for Life Summit, the Teen Employment Initiative was something that he thought of. Bob Valenti, along with Robert Norton, worked on the Teen Impressions magazine, TASCO Teen Impressions magazine, and started the TASCO Center for Teen Technology, which is going strong today. Bobby predated Title IX and started all female sports leagues with the city. We used to have just male sports leagues for teens, and he got the all female leagues going. Bobby was instrumental at Childs Park in the CCYD Neighborhood Initiative Program. He's also done many rec center family nights and started that program back at Gladden, I believe. And one of his most memorable moments was going to Homestead during Hurricane Andrew, and that was at 1992? 1992. We sent a contingency from the Parks and Recreation Department down to the Parks Department, helped clear trees and roads, and recreation provided activities for the people in Tent City there. Bob has won our Lou Leonard Safety Award, the Hats Off Award, and various Employee of the Quarters. His hobbies include reading, writing music, playing guitar, piano, traveling with his family. He loves nature and outdoor activities, as he always was dragging us when we were younger up to the mountains in North Carolina and New York to go backpacking every summer. He loves biking and running, and he's currently writing a movie script, which I know he's working on, and he's very proud of that. One of the things that Bob would like to share with you, that he's learned so much from his brother Richie. Richie's his younger brother, and ever since, I've known Bobby since I was a child, and Bobby had Richie walking around with him. Richie has Down syndrome, and Bobby would bring him everywhere, and he cares for him still today. So Bob's been a great big brother, but he says he's learned so much from Richie, and I think we all have. So Bob's really had a great career. He's done a lot with the city. Everyone knows Tasco, and that's largely due to Bobby and what he did with Tasco and how he progressed. Just an idea that the department had, a bunch of people in the department had, and the way he took it and grew is really amazing. And people even think today that Tasco is its own separate entity, but it really is a part of the Parks and Recreation Department, as Mike Jeffries likes to remind everyone these days. So we all help me congratulate Bobby for 35 years of service to the city. Next up, I'd like to invite Lynn Russ, her husband Donnie, and I don't know if your father's here, Edgar Morris, or your brother Philip. Did they make it? Nope. Lynn Russ, 30 years of service with the city of St. Petersburg. She is a swimming pool supervisor, and she has been since 1986. Previously, she was a lifeguard with us. She began her career, I think, in 1982 as a lifeguard, and then became a lifeguard instructor in 1984, and has been a pool supervisor since 1986. Lynn has had an Outstanding Performance Award in 2011 issued to her from our department, and as what Lynn does is very vital to our department year after year. We have 8 neighborhood pools, and they're closed most of the year due to the weather. It's a little cooler. And Lynn's responsible for maintaining those pools while they're closed, which is, she doesn't have a big crew. She has to put the tarps on them. They still have to run the pumps and maintain the deck and everything that goes on with those pools. So that's really her main function during the school year, which is a big job. Then right before summer, the bigger part of that job comes is uncovering those pools and getting them all ready for swimming. And Memorial Day actually was our opening weekend this past weekend, and she did a wonderful job getting all 8 of those pools ready and open for swim. Some of her most memorable work moments are teaching, when she was a lifeguard and an instructor, teaching 3- and 5-year-olds how to swim, which we all know is very important. We just celebrated Drowning Prevention Week this last month. I think it was last month we did a week and drowning prevention with the fire department. And another one of her most memorable moments is going to the White House with her daughter, who's in the Army, correct? Navy, and getting a picture with the president. So she really enjoyed that. She also loves singing at her church, and one thing she wanted you all to know is that she is a 2.5-year cancer survivor. So she's very proud of that. So thank you, Lynn, for your service, and I give you Lynn Russ 30 years of service with the city. right, I've got a few more to do. Linda Seifert. Linda is celebrating 25 years of service with the City of St. Petersburg and the Parks and Recreation Department. Linda is a Parks and Recreation Manager. She oversees Aquatics, the Boyd Hill Nature Preserve, and all the neighborhood pools. And she does a bunch of other miscellaneous duties with the department. She's in charge of City Beautiful. She's on with that commission. She's really the organizer behind the Green Thumb Festival we just had at Walter Fuller Park, which is a huge festival and a lot of work. Previously, Linda worked as a supervisor at Boyd Hill Nature Preserve. She was our regional supervisor, aquatics supervisor over the neighborhood pools, and she was the supervisor at the Bay Vista Recreation Center. Linda has received an Outstanding Performance Award in 2009 and the Lewis Leonard Safety Award in 1997. Linda has a BS in, get this, zoology. I don't know what it made her think to be a zoologist, although I know at Boyd Hill at one time they did have a zoo there. So I don't know if that was what you were thinking from Southern Illinois University. I don't know.
Working with animals.
Working with animals. She's also a Parks and Recreation, certified Parks and Recreation professional. She is a natural parks management professional, and she is certified in Parks and Recreation maintenance management. Before coming to the city, she worked at Michael's and Frank's nurseries and craft stores, and she did a stint at two banks, Barnett Bank and the First Union Bank. Linda is involved in the Florida Urban Forestry Council and the Council of Catholic Women, and when she's not working with us, she likes gardening and cooking, and she's married to Don Seifert from the Water Resource Department, Stormwater Department, who couldn't be here today. So everyone help me congratulate Linda for 25 years of service. All right, next we have Lynn Bittner, 25 years of service. She's here with her husband, Carrie Bittner, who also works with Parks and Recreation. Lynn has recently been promoted to a recreation manager in the Parks and Recreation Department, overseeing the rec centers, half the rec centers, along with Mr. Jackson, Thomas Jackson, and she oversees all of our grant programs, which is a big job. Trust me, I know that. We get lots of grants from the Juvenile Welfare Board. We get for our teen after-school programs. We receive money for subsidized care for our elementary programs, after-school child care programs, and Lynn's responsible for overseeing that in the programming. She's also one of our key people in dealing with the Pinellas County License Board. All of our child care programs are licensed after school. Lynn sits on the license board as an advisor for school-age programs and has been doing that for, what, 4 years now, I think, about? 6. Wow, time flies. So she is really an expert in her field. Lynn came to us in 1989. She was hired at the Roberts Adult Center as a supervisor, and really has moved around. She moved to Gladden Park, and for a while she ran Gladden Park and I think oversaw TASCO programs at that point. She's been to Walter Fuller, JWK. She oversaw special programs for a while, and was at Shore Acres most recently before moving to administration as her manager. She was the Employee of the Month in 1991 and also received the Lewis Leonard Safety Award in 1997. Lynn went to the University of Miami in Ohio, Miami University, which is different from the University of Miami in Ohio, and got her BS there. Before coming to us, she worked for the Y in Tampa and in Middletown, Ohio. Lynn and Carrie are really involved in their, they have 2 children, Tyler and Sean, and they're involved in their school career and what they do right now. Well, Sean is at Auburn University, but Tyler is into swimming and diving at, I guess swimming more than diving, but at Lakewood High School. He's also in the CAT program, and they are on the Swim and Dive Booster Club. And our previous PTA president and school age committee members, but like I said, heavily involved in their school, and I always have been in their education. So I would like you all to help me thank Lynn for 25 years of service with the city. Get it? Oh, video. All right, and last but not least, I'd like to invite up Paula Fowler and her daughter, Sierra Watkins. Paula is receiving her 20-year service award with the city, all of which, again, were spent with Parks and Recreation. This is Paula Fowler and her daughter, Sierra Watkins, who also works for us at Lake Vista Recreation Center. Paula works at Childs Park as the Teen Supervisor 1. She runs all the teen programs there, and that's one of those grant positions that we have that we've had with the Juvenile Welfare Board that really, we do great things with teens, and Paula really leads the way in that at Childs Park and getting things done. Paula's been a supervisor since 2008. Before that, she was a rec aide or a youth development worker and a summer rec leader at Wildwood and Campbell. She received the Outstanding Performance Award in 2002, and she went to Dixie Hollins High School and got her Child Development Associate from P-Tech after graduating and coming to work for the city. Her most memorable moment was in 1992 when Thomas Jackson had the good nature to hire her and the good fortune to see that she was going to be a quality employee for us and hire her at Wildwood. And that was the start of her career with the city. Before that, she worked with the school board at Riviera Middle School and St. Pete High School. What she likes to do in her spare time is she loves spending time with her daughter and her family. She loves bowling, and she also loves to fish. She volunteers at CareFest. She's done that for many years, and she loves to volunteer and help the Childs Park Neighborhood Association. What she wants you to know is that she loves working for the city, and we love having her around. She does such wonderful things with the teens. She's innovative. She's a good programmer, and she's vital to our program out there at Childs Park. And they've done some wonderful things in working with St. Pete College and with the police and fire programs that are there, and she's run some really good programs into the city. So help me thank Paula Fowler for 20 years of service.
Good morning. I'd like to think you're clapping because you're glad to see me as a person, but I think it's really because I'm the last presenter, and you're glad to see the last presenter, whoever that happened to be. We have three individuals we'd like to honor today, and the first is George Kenny Wise with 40 years of experience. When I first, I worked for some consultants before I started working for the city, and so I knew Ken. And then I came to the city and started working here, and there was this guy named George, and I couldn't figure out for the longest time who that was, but George Ken is the same person. So Ken is a native Floridian. His father was a plumber, so they ended up as a family moving around the state of Florida. He was actually born down in Miami. Being the son of a plumber, though, it helped him kind of set the tone for his future career. Yeah, they eventually settled here in St. Petersburg. He graduated from Lakewood High School. He graduated early, graduated in December, took a little time off to find himself. And if his dad was like mine, that lasted a week or two and then said, okay, get your butt out of here, buddy. He applied for the city, and he wanted to work for the sanitation department. And one of the benefits of the sanitation department is that once you get done with your route, you get to go home, and he liked that a lot. But he ended up, fortunately for us, in water resources. After a very grueling interview process, he met his future supervisor in the parking lot. The supervisor liked his experience as a plumber that he had gained working with his father. He commented that his hair was a little bit too long. Some things never change. And then he asked, when can you start? So after a 30-second interview, his journey with the city began. He is currently a chief operator at our Southwest Water Reclamation Facility. And within the Water Resources Department and the Water Reclamation Division, we're going through some quantum changes. We're decommissioning the Albert Wooded facility and sending flow down to the Southwest treatment plant. We are consolidating our biosolids processing at the Southwest treatment plant. And we're constructing a biosolids to energy project at the Southwest treatment plant. And in case you've missed it, the commonality of all of that is the Southwest treatment plant. And Kenny's an integral part of that process with his knowledge and experience and historical knowledge of 40 years of experience. He pretty much knows where every nut, bolt, pipe, and conduit in the plant are. His community involvement includes being the environmental technology advisor to the board for Pinellas County. He's active in the Florida Water Pollution Control Operators Association, where he served as 4 years as trustees and 2 years as director. In his spare time, he enjoys spending it with his family, his wife, Tammy, and his son. His son is an EMT. Going to take up the water resources on a different side of the fire hose. Wants to be a fireman. He also enjoys fishing, and of course, if you've known Kenny for very long at all, there's always hunting, and more hunting. But it's not all the same hunting. It's hunting with bows and arrows, and hunting with black powder rifles and shotguns, and I don't know, slingshots maybe? Wait for that one. The last thing I want to tell you about Kenny really tells you what kind of man he is. The measure of a man or a woman is not what they do when the spotlights are on them. The measure of a man or woman is what they do when they're out of the limelight, when nobody's looking, and they can do whatever they want. And there's no glory in it. There's no pat on the back. And with that same passion that Ken has for hunting, he has in terms of giving blood to the blood drives. And he's given not just a few pints, not just a few quarts, not even just a few gallons. In the past years, he's given over 13 gallons to the blood drive. So please welcome me, congratulate Ken on 40 years of service. Next, we have Kevin Riskowitz with 35 years of service. Your fiance don't want to come in? Okay. Kevin is a graduate from the University of South Florida with a BS in biology, and he also completed coursework at in chemical oceanography at USF College of Marine Science. Never quite got around to writing that dissertation, but he did complete the coursework. And Kevin's been on several cruises in the course of his career. And these aren't the cruises of 7 days and 7 islands in the Caribbean, or 5 days to explore Mexico. These are cruises with names like the Joint Global Ocean Flux Study. And these are cruises that don't last 5 to 7 days. These are cruises that last 5 to 13 weeks. Cruises where he's not up on the deck playing shuffleboard, but he's using his experience in nutrients and studying the water throughout the world. These are cruises where when the typhoons come, they don't run away, they just kind of dodge them a little. And when there's more than one typhoon coming, then they try to dodge them all. So he started with the city here in the water resources as a laboratory technician, and he's worked up his way up. He's now our environmental laboratory supervisor, where he's responsible for thousands of samples a year and tens of thousands of analysis for our 4 water reclamation facilities, our water treatment plant, our water distribution, our industrial pretreatment program, all of which to make sure that we are doing what we are supposed to do, that all our processes and programs are in compliance with standards. In addition, he's got a little side project. He's working with the engineering department on their TMDL studies. In the community, he's the past vice president of the Azalea Homeowners Association. He's past president, vice president, and treasurer of the Mended Hearts Chapter 43. And this is an organization that's a support group for those who have gone through heart surgery. And he got involved in that group after he had a stent and a quadruple bypass. For 15 years, he was volunteered at the Pier Aquarium, where he was the mermaid in the tank. No, I'm sorry. He merely took care of the tanks. Okay. But he really enjoyed that time, enjoys talking to the youth that come to the aquarium to visit, enjoys challenging them to go out and really just seek their dreams and to follow their dreams. He's truly a Renaissance man with a wide variety of interests, including fishing, boating, swimming, diving, gardening, cooking, and singing in the choir. So please join me in recognizing Kevin Riskowitz for 25 years of service. And finally, Michael Renshaw with 20 years of experience. Not just clapping because you're the last. We're here for you, buddy. Michael is a native St. Petersburg resident, born and raised here, graduated from St. Petersburg High School in 1990. He joined the city in 1994 and started working in the Water Resources Department in 1996, where he's worked in our Water System Maintenance Division, which is the division that takes care of all the water distribution lines throughout the city. This last November, he was promoted to foreman, where he leads the water meter maintenance crew, oversees the annual reclaimed water compliance inspection program, and is liaison with our utility accounts department. He holds an FDEP Level 3 water distribution system operator's license and a Class C reclaimed water distribution technician's license from the Florida Water Pollution Control Operators Association. He's very active in that organization, and he's helped author some guidelines for water reclamation systems. The city of St. Petersburg, it was really the first city in the country to have the residential reclaimed water distribution system that we have. And so when other communities and counties start programs, a lot of times they come here and talk to folks like Mike, folks that have the experience on how these programs run. In his spare time, he and his wife love outdoor activities, and these include camping either on his 10 acres up in the Brooksville area or over in Ocala. He also likes dirt biking, although he said he's kind of shifting over to the four-wheelers. Seems to me like a four-wheeler, that's just what, a dirt bike with training wheels? Basically, yeah. And what list of outdoor activities would not be complete if it wasn't his involvement and love for that most famous of all Floridian outdoor activity, which is snow skiing. And he does enjoy that with an annual pilgrimage either up to Pennsylvania or out to Utah. So please join me in recognizing Michael for his 20 years of service.
Last but not least, I do appreciate everybody staying here and going ahead and joining us in congratulating our final honorees. One of my jobs is to actually total up the total number of years of service, which I didn't bring a calculator with, so I'm more or less pretty accurate, I think. But this, I think, is probably a record. I added up everybody, not only here today, but those that didn't make it. And I come up with 2,315 years of service. That's 23 centuries of service that we have here. That's kind of remarkable. we've got a whole page of people with 30 or more years of service, and I don't know if we've ever had that either, and that's also very remarkable, including, obviously, Mr. Thomas's 50 years of service. I'd like to say thank you to two groups of folks in addition to our honorees today. Number one is appreciate all the employees that came out to support your fellow coworkers that got some awards today. That really shows some teamwork and some real spirit and cooperation, and I appreciate that, and it's always good to see a large group of people come out and support folks. So thank you for that, and it's good to know that we have that kind of support. Secondly, also along the lines of support, I want to thank all the family members. Just about everyone who came up here brought some family members with them. Especially, we know you have to loan those folks to us sometimes during hard times, and now especially with this weekend kicking off another year of a hurricane season, which hopefully is going to be a mild one, and we won't have any major emergencies, but we know that the family members have to surrender their folks who come back and or stay here in the time of emergency when you need them the most to take care of you and support you and protect your homes. They're actually here taking care of the rest of the citizens and everyone and making sure everybody stays safe along with the city. So thank you as well to the family members. As long as today's ceremony was, we have about just as many honorees who, for whatever reason, did not make it here, either vacations or work obligations or plain old shyness. And it's kind of one of the things I like to do is go through and read to you the names of those folks who could not be here today, but who also had significant years of service. Thank you all for staying, and have a great day. Appreciate it. We're done.